Oh, Jesus.
Ghost.
TV shows and movies are full of jump scares and scenes that have us watching through the cracks between our fingers. It's all part of the fun. But we discovered actors from huge shows and films, like Stranger Things and Harry Potter, were just as terrified during the filming of those scenes. From intense method acting, haunted set locations, and even actors facing their deepest phobias, we're uncovering just what scenes from your favorite movies and TV shows left cast members petrified.
Seriously, I could just eat like a whole bowl of nougat, like straight up.
We were all on the edge of our seats when Eleven ventured into the void to try and find Heather the lifeguard in Stranger Things Season 3. We might have thought the scene was intense, but for Heather's actress, Francesca Reel, it was horrifying. Doing the drowning was actually in a pool with a black bottom, which was terrifying for me. The moment Katniss sees Peeta's sunken face on TV after he's abducted by the Capitol is dark. What's even more heartbreaking is that Katniss's reaction is actually how Jennifer Lawrence responded to seeing the video for the first time. The director knew J-Law hadn't seen Josh Hutcherson in a while, and if she was shocked with the video, they'd be able to capture her genuine fear on camera. Talk about intense method acting.
Katniss, are you there?
For the most part, the Euphoria cast seemed to have an amazing time on set, except on their last filming day of Season 1, when they were on location at an abandoned mental hospital that had shut down after 40 patients lost their lives. There was even a morgue. Actress Sydney Sweeney is still not over the spookiness. It was the creepiest place that I'd ever been to, and we were filming there all day and all night.
Dude, you were good on that, and he was just like...
We all know that the cranks from Maze Runner are just a combination of talented actors and makeup artists, but that didn't stop Dylan O'Brien and Thomas Sangster from genuinely being afraid to film with them. Take a listen.
I remember that little guy.
He was unbelievable,
terrifying.
yeah.
In a twisted way, their fear probably made the final cut even more realistic.
I'm just like...
For Voldemort, the Harry Potter casting directors had to make sure they brought on an actor who did intimidating well. They succeeded. Not only was Ralph Fiennes scary as Voldemort, but Daniel Radcliffe says that he was terrified anytime he had a scene with Ralph. I remember when I was 15 doing the scenes with Ralph for the first time. He was even scarier than Alan was at first. Ralph genuinely scared me for a few years.
You cry for that?
The witchy vibes in the chilling adventures of Sabrina weren't always the greatest. The showrunners were dedicated to making sure that all the pagan rituals were done accurately, which made it a little too real for actress Tati Gabriel, who played Prudence. She always feared that they would actually be calling out to the supernatural. I do smudging just to keep my energy clear when we step off, like, let's leave that behind. Yikes.
It was she who led me back to the material world.
Wedding jitters aren't just reserved for real weddings. According to Robert Pattinson, Kristen Stewart was terrified when filming the Bella and Edward wedding. She knew how important the scene was to the story and was so scared that she'd mess something up. It even made Rob a little nervous. She walks out and she's absolutely terrified. I hadn't been nervous for the entire scene before she walked down the aisle. Daenerys may have been fierce while flying her dragons, but for Emilia Clarke, it was like riding a very scary amusement park ride. Behind the scenes, she's actually sitting on a big green shell that she had to be careful not to fall off of at all times. At least they eventually got her a harness.
And just use it.
Do you know the scene in Game of Thrones where Jon Snow is being chased by the Bolton Cavalry? Kit Harington would like everyone to know that it wasn't a green screen. Instead, Kit had to stand there and actually fear for his life just so they could get the scene filmed. He called the experience very scary.
Are you scared, Jason?
Madeline Petch hid her emotions in this opening scene of Riverdale. The actress has a huge fear of deep and large bodies of water, and ironically, one of her very first days on set, she was forced to face it. I was having a panic attack. No one knew I was freaking out. I had to wear these beautiful Valentinos in the boat when I got in, so I was terrified of stepping in the boat. Can you think back to the first time you experienced seeing Pennywise on screen?
Come join the clown, Edge. We all float down here.
You were probably pretty freaked out. Well, imagine having that same experience, but in person. That's what happened to the young cast of It. They weren't allowed to see Alexander Skarsgård in his Pennywise costume until the moment they filmed together. Their on-screen reaction is 100% real.
Oh my god.
Surprise! One of the many jump scares in season 1 of Haunting of Hill House wasn't entirely scripted and terrified actress Kate Siegel and Elizabeth Reeser. The director instructed Victoria Pedretti to pop out earlier in this scene than expected to get their real reaction. It wasn't just Jennifer Garner's character in her Netflix film who found herself saying yes to some not ideal situations. Jennifer had to face her fear of roller coasters in the film Yes Day. Thanks to her fear in real life, they were able to capture some realistic footage. Is it bad that we're laughing?
I hated it so much. I didn't want to tell you it went higher on the second time.
The Transfiguration classroom in the Chamber of Secrets was full of actual live animals. Well, one of those animals, a monkey, absolutely petrified the young actors while they were filming on set. Apparently, it was engaging in some very inappropriate behavior. Daniel Radcliffe even went as far as calling it traumatic.
Very well.
The first time Michael Caine saw Heath Ledger in his Joker costume was the moment the cameras were rolling. That meant Michael was taken aback and even a little terrified. He'll frighten the life out of you. He did that to me the first time I saw him. I forgot every line. Terrifying. The Conjuring story is terrifying, but actress Vera Farmiga did a deep dive into the history of the Warrens and all things supernatural before taking on the role. Her research left her constantly in fear while on set. She was so spooked that she expected to see real-life supernatural occurrences, like children levitating every corner she turned. In Pitch Perfect 3, Rebel Wilson had to continuously film a 20-foot jump, which wasn't great for her fear of heights. Each time the director said action, she was terrified. I know I seem really tough, but I am afraid of heights. I had to do this 20-foot jump 10 times, and each time I was petrified. Jennifer Aniston had a traumatizing underwater experience when she was 5, leading to this scene she filmed in her film Cake to be unbearable. The director needed her to continuously keep submerging herself under the water, and for Jennifer, it was near impossible. It took me 30 takes. I will never do that again. For Ryan Reynolds, every day on set of his film Buried was a struggle. One of his biggest fears is claustrophobia, and he was constantly in a confined space on set. It triggered him emotionally, and what you see on screen is really how he was feeling. It was tough. Buried was really, really tough, emotionally and physically. We're hoping that Scarlett Johansson at least knew what she was signing up for when she auditioned for a film called We Bought a Zoo. But that didn't stop her from having a huge fear of the birds that were on set. Something about wings and beaks and the flapping. I am terrified of them. But she got through it in the end.
Congratulations.
In other words, fear on a movie set isn't always a bad thing for performance. Sometimes it improves a scene. We just can't believe that in some of these scenes we couldn't even detect that they were terrified. It just proves how amazing these actors are. Could you sense that the actors were terrified in these scenes?